Any idea how you're going to disperse the starts from now until the end of the season for your goalies?
Well, they'll both play. I mean, what we do know is Markey, if everything stays according to plan right now, will play our next game. So that's kind of where we're at. Other than that, both guys will play. Okay.
Still tough news for Dan to obviously have the surgery.
Yeah.
Just your thoughts on not hearing that he's going to be done for the season?
Yeah, that's a tough one for sure. I mean, when you get into that situation, you want the best for him. And I think the reason why he gets done now is really about that. So he'll be ready in time for next year. So it allows him to get his season off to a proper start. So all that stuff kind of comes into play with it. But it's hard on guys because they want to be in the net in his situation more often than not. He's had a couple tough starts lately in regards to how the team played in front of him. But once this is done, I know he's going to come back better and stronger from it.
Right, and usually with goalies, a hip isn't a spur of the moment thing. Is this something Dan's been trying to kind of play through for a while?
I think every goaltender has hip issues. The way they play, I can't even bend that way. And I think over time for a goaltender, there's wear and tear along it. So it is not anything that just happens, that bang, there's his injury. When you look at goaltenders' hip injuries, those are things that they deal with for a while.
When we talked to Jacob, it felt like he wanted to emphasize the respect he had for just what a warrior Dan has been for this team. Is that a respect, I guess, that's shared?
Well, for sure, and that's the hockey player, whether we're talking about Dan right now, but there's a lot of players that play through a lot of things, and a lot of sports guys won't do that, but in this one, that's what people do. So whether it's something broken and guys play through it, or things aren't right daily, and it's just what players do, and he is no different in that situation. I thought he gave us some great starts along the way this year as well.
What specifically do you want Dustin Wolf to learn from Jacob Markstrom over this final stretch?
There's nothing really specific. I mean, the opportunity to watch a true number one NHL goaltender on a daily basis is the biggest thing for him, because everything's kind of platooned over the last little while. A lot of teams have the 1A, 1B, if they want to call it that, where there's only a handful of teams that have that actual number one goaltender. We have one in Jacob, so he has an opportunity to see how he approaches his work on a game day, his work on a practice day. All those things come into play for him. And then other than that, when he gets his starts, he wants to make sure he keeps proving to himself that he is a guy that should be getting more games, and that's what it really comes down to.
Ryan, for Dustin to be here the last month of the season and practice with an NHL team every day and get some games, development-wise, what could that do for him?
Well, I mean, he's done everything he's been asked to do at every level moving up. Same in the American League. There's no different. Now at this level, there is a difference between the shooters here and the shooters at the American League level. So now he has an opportunity to be around that for longer, consistently, and he's going to get himself into more games as well. So we have 3 good goaltenders, 4. I mean, we don't often talk about our other goaltender that's going to carry a lot of the work with the Wranglers. But it's opportunity, and sometimes with injuries, doors open a little bit, and then it's up to him now to make sure he makes good on the opportunity.
Is Connor Zary an option to you now? Has he been cleared for everything?
No, we're still listing him as day-to-day. So we're hopeful that he's going to be ready to play, but he is still listed as day-to-day.
What have you missed in the last 8 games without Connor in the lineup?
There's the line, I feel like, with Cads and his 2 young fellas that he plays with there. Connor, when he has the puck on his stick, he makes things happen. And a lot of times when you're looking to possess the puck a little bit more often than not, he holds on to it quite a bit, and the chemistry that he has with his line. The second thing, like, Connor did a good job on our power play, whether he's on that second unit or on our first unit. I think he's learned how to be a pretty good half-wall player, and that's only going to keep getting better for him the more he plays. So those would be the 2 things I think we've missed from not having him in the lineup.
As this team gets younger, having a guy like AJ Greer, who, his career as a professional has had ups and downs, lots of time in the AHL, but he's continued to work at it and is, emerged as a full-time NHLer here. Can that, I guess the wisdom that he's sort of built, can that be important for the young players to see?
I think the best thing that AJ is going to bring for our team is a lot of times when a young guy comes up, they all come up as offensive players, and AJ was no different. And you find out over your time in the NHL, whether it's short or long, that maybe I'm not that much of an offensive player anymore, and you have to be willing to change your role a little bit. So he's gone through all of that, whether it's trying to get himself to the NHL, whether it's in the American League. He had to figure out a way to make himself an NHL player on a daily basis, and he's done that. So I think when you have someone that understands what a young guy goes through, how they maybe have to change their game at certain time, I think it just makes it easier for if someone has questions or how did you get yourself to this point, then he's a guy that can answer those questions.
With Rooney, Greer, and Hunt now on that fourth line, do those three guys play to the identity that you want from that group?
Sure. I mean, we need a line that's going to be a hard forechecking line, and I think when they play together, they have a good understanding of what they are. And I've said it all along, though, it doesn't matter if, like last game, Matty Coronado played there. I think Matty's done well in that situation as well. I don't think of Matty, as a long-term fourth-line player, but part of his development is understanding the different roles along the way. So those guys have a good understanding of how they're going to have to play when they're together. So if that's the way that line shakes out when it comes to Saturday night, then that will be our expectation for sure.
Sure, we all look outside in Calgary, and like a weekend in Vancouver sounds pretty nice right now. You guys are going a little bit early. What was the thinking behind just
this stretch of time off that we had, I felt like when we looked at this at the beginning portion of the year, it was, could we try to do something there with the team to get them together? And this was something that kind of worked out for us to be able to do it. That's really what it comes down to, is getting the guys together. No, not the weather.
Do you feel, as you guys go to Vancouver, do you feel that you have a good sense of where Kuzmenko fits here, or have the illness, the time he's missed, has that maybe kind of stalled that process?
I don't think it's stalled it. I think we have a good sense of what he brings to the table. It's now a matter of finding ways to get him to do it consistently. So that's we understand who he is and what type of player he is now, without a doubt, where he's best suited and the positions that we have to put him in. Now it's about connecting the dots, so he's really consistent in what we're looking for.
For that team bonding, do you have any plans? What's the team going to be doing with that extra day together?
We practice tomorrow in Vancouver, so I'm sure they'll have a dinner together tonight, and then some of the coaches will go watch the game tonight as well.